stay safe.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I will start with the definition of COVID. I will talk about Defender full mask, a solution in scarce personal protection equipment in COVID-19 pandemic era.
Gambarin ya. Ada yang warna ini, ada yang gambarnya.
Okay, I will start with the definition of COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2. SARS-CoV-2 is a severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. It is caused by a new strain coronavirus. Its positive strain, a rhinovirus, it's transmitted by droplet, field survival and surface area. It is detected in aerosol up to 3 hours, up to 4 hours in copper, up to 24 hours in cardboard, up to 2-3 days on plastic and stainless steel, up to 7 days in low temperature or humid, and it can be inactivated by lipid solvents such as ether, ethanol, chlorine, etc. The virus has achieved unique epidemiology from epidemic to pandemic. It was started with the onset of illness in 425 patients confirmed in Wuhan, China, since end of 2019 until its outbreak in early 2020. It was previously linked to human wholesale market until it's been reported human-to-human transmission. The pink color are the cases that were not linked to human market. And in 8 January 2020, a novel coronavirus was officially announced as the causative pathogen of the outbreak by China CDC. Finally, now we know that COVID-19 is become worldwide emergency situation. This is the epidemic curve of confirmed COVID-19 report by WHO in Asia Pacific, Europe, America, and Africa. It was recognized as a pandemic on 11 March 2020. This is the last update of COVID-19 until this presentation, with total confirmed case is 4.2 million and 280,000 deaths and recover of 1.5 million. And this is the last update data of COVID-19 in Indonesia with total case 14,000 cases, almost 1,000 deaths, and with 2,000 recoveries. The region was spread in whole regions, and Java is the most dense positive cases. The clinical manifestations are including asymptomatic until atypical pneumonia. But it is not only pneumonia. Some report its effect on systemic inflammation response syndrome, or SIRS, and cardiovascular manifestation. Both SIRS and cardiovascular may potential to death. The atypical pneumonia, since first case report in Wuhan, China, it can be shown in chest X-ray and CT scan as a ground glass opacification pattern of atypical pneumonia or organizing pneumonia. And while cardiovascular manifestation was reported in JAMA 2020 as shock, acute cardiac injury, and arrhythmia. A clinical characteristic of COVID-19 in China report in New England Journal of Medicine, so comorbidity with hypertension, diabetes, coronary heart disease, and etc. Here is a brief pathophysiology. Coronavirus show an entry site in S receptor in human. This cartoon shows SARS-CoV-2 spike protein is binding to S2 receptor, hypothetically causing acute lung injury, vasoconstriction, vascular permeability, and other systemic manifestation. There's a similarity between SARS in 2002 and COVID-19 in 2020 in the entry site of human S receptor. This is pathophysiology of SARS-CoV-2 in systemic inflammation and cardiovascular disorder. SARS-CoV-2 infection can impact on ACE2-mediated direct damage, hypoxia-induced myocardial damage, and SIRS that cause acute cardiac injury, coronary plaque rupture, and acute heart failure. In this pandemic COVID-19 era, medical professionals and supporting health workers are facing a challenge. Scarcity of personal protection equipment (PPE) or PPE, and second is receiving or creating ideal or near ideal protection profile. Another challenge is concerns about scarcity of PPE when doctors and paramedic nurse and supporting health workers that directly or indirectly handle COVID-19 patients. Many doctors and nurses have passed away in the battle against COVID-19 outbreak. Okay. In this characteristic of important lesson from the China CDC, in epicentrum COVID-19 in Wuhan, it's by journal JAMA in 2020. In epicentrum COVID-19 in Wuhan, instead of standard PPE and excellent protocol used in China, there's a 63% healthcare personnel still get infection. What about Indonesia? What about Southeast Asia? We still have no data about this. And this is the story of our Defender Formas. Long before this project, some Indonesian anesthesiologists have been make an alternative PPE, such as a full mask snorkel, but there's still a weakness. There's still just one airway that it makes mix between inspiration and expiration. Here are the example of full mask snorkel used by our anesthesiologists or our colleagues as alternative PPE. However, there was only one channel connected both for inspiration and expiration. Then I meet Mr. Wahyu, Cesarendra, and team. So we have the same vision in solving problem in alternative. And here is our innovation, Defender Full Mask, used in some surgery procedure as alternative PPE, with more convenient adapter that ensure a safety and comfort breathing. There's separate channels, oxygen and carbon dioxide, in which technical perspective will be explained by Mr. Wahyu. And this is the benefit of Defender Full Mask. First, Defender Full Mask cover whole face and whole head. It's appropriate for COVID-19 or other airborne disease. As addition, COVID-19 has also been reported to be transmitted through eyes and mucous membrane. DVM protect eyes and replace the use of eye goggles. And second, it's spared airways. Airways have been divided into two different channels, oxygen and carbon dioxide, and it can guarantee the safety and comfort for the user. Reduce cost and stuffy sensation for the user that in pandemic era, health workers often use PPE in very long duration. And third is HEPA filter or HME filter protects not only droplets, but also protect from aerosol. It can filter until 99% of particles, including viruses, is increasing the safety to COVID-19. And fourth, the duration of using DVM can be longer compared to surgery masks or N95 that directly attach to mouths. Where one surgery mask or N95 get wet, appropriate liquid, etc., it should be changed. But with the DVM, it's a longer time. As long as the HEPA filter is in good condition, so it's more longer profile, more convenience for user in pandemic situation. Thank you, and please, Mr. Wahyu Cesarendra.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Adi Satria Wicaksana for the explanation related to the history of DFM product. So I'm trying to, I will complement and continue Dr. Satrio's presentation. Dr. Satrio, could you please close the sharing? Okay, I will share my presentation. Okay, I'm trying to explain as much as easy as possible, because I believe that most of the participants today is not from engineering side, but my background is in mechanical engineering. So I'm trying to explain in the easiest way. So as a okay, maybe just a brief overview of myself, already explained by Dr. Professor Nur Huda. I'm an assistant professor in University Pulau Darussalam. Maybe if anyone interested to have more collaboration, you can contact me. And in this presentation, I would like to a bit narrower focus on the adapter. Adapter is the interface between the full face snorkel mask and the filter. Okay, the DFM, which is a abbreviation from the Defender Full Mask, consists of three parts. Full face snorkel mask is this one, number one, which we call the full face snorkel mask. And then number two is adapter. And number three is the HME filter. Okay. This is the part of the DFM, Defender Full Mask. I will try to explain step by step about the parts. So I will start with the HME filter. Why use? Maybe many people asking when we start this project. Many people ask me that why you use the and select HME filter. I'm trying to explain here that HME filter is already certified by Ministry of Health of Indonesia. Yeah, we cannot. Yeah, this is already certified and affordable. It's very cheap compared to another maybe like a mask 99 N95. And availability is very easy to find. You can find the SME filter in hospital anywhere, maybe also in the pharmacies as well. And this the most important thing is the long lifetime of the SME. It can be used approximately 1 month, as Dr. Satrio present today. We can use the HME filter for approximately 1 month if the condition is still good or not touching to the or exposed to the fruits. So we can use approximately 1 month. And then the second is why. Also, this is another question when we develop this product. Why you use full face snorkel mask? Actually, the DFM adopted from the snorkeling equipment called the full face snorkel mask. The reason is the first one is they cover the full protection, like Dr. Satrio mentioned before. It's cover full face protection, and number two is already tested by some organization in the sport area. No water leakage. You can try if you buy the full face snorkel mask and then you dive in the water. No water leakage. And number two is a has-to flow circulation. I will explain later on about what is the has-to air flow circulation. And number four is can be used for snorkeling. This is the important things. If you have a DFM, you still can use the full face snorkel mask after the COVID-19 is over. So it's still used for another application or benefit. Okay, this is the detail of the why DFM use the snorkel, because full face snorkel mask has to air flow circulation. The green arrow here, the green line here is for the inspiration or inhale. This is oxygen coming to this hole and then will be through this line. And when we do like expiration or exhale, the CO2 or carbon dioxide will go through side of the full face snorkel as seen in the red line arrow. So this why when Dr. Satrio first time contacted me to develop alternative PPA, we call this alternative PPE. And then I studied first about the system of the snorkel, and then I found a little bit unique, and I think is applicable for the PPE in Indonesia. Okay, maybe also this is a question that I facing or I receive many from my friends. Why? What is the difference between your product innovation and another product in the overseas? So if you searching about the PPE alternative, you will find maybe the most two. You will find the two most common thing like project. The one is the Mask project developed by the Stanford University. I will this is the figure here. The left side figure is from the Mask project from Stanford University. And the second thing is called Easy COVID-19. You can see this figure, and this is the most available. Is the most project that you, if you searching googling the PPA using snorkel, you will find to this project. So the question now is, what is the difference between the adapter or the, because this project, the main unique one is this one, the adapter. We call it adapter because the snorkel and the filters already available in the market. So just buy and then purchase. And the project is related to the adapter. We call this adapter, which is interface between the snorkel mask and the SME filter. So the next question is, what is the difference between the adapter and sensor valve and those projects? I can mention now because it's also opportunity for me to announce to the public that we have two main things that different with the previous project. Number one is adapter or sensor valve has two airflow direction, inhale and exhale CO2. I will go back to my presentation. I will go back to slide. If you see the Mask project from Stanford University, the adapter looks like this. The airflow for oxygen and carbon dioxide is facing astro in the same part. So oxygen coming this way and also carbon dioxide also coming this way. So there is no separation between the oxygen and the carbon dioxide air circulation. This is the demerits or the weakness of this adapter. And the second thing for the easy COVID, adapter cover has a check valve mechanism at the CO2 pipe. Okay, before I explain this one, what is different with this? Because the easy COVID-19 already used for the ventilator together with the to supply oxygen here. It cannot be used for the portable one, but we developed DFM for the portable purposes. The second benefit is the adapter or sensor valve has a check valve mechanism at the CO2 pipe. If you are from engineering, you will know about the check valve. Check valve means it's like a one-way circulation. For example, the valve can pass through this direction of the air or fluids, but the valve cannot be blocked the other direction of valve. So this is called like a check valve. We developed this mechanism in the adapter defender full mask. So this is the figure showing you that about the two airflow direction. Number one is the flow for oxygen coming inside here. Okay, when the people of the user do an inhale, the oxygen will go through this pipe, and when the people or user do the expiration or exhale, the carbon dioxide will pass through this. The arrow must be go that way. Number two. So this is the two direction, and the sensor valve is located in this figure. Okay. Also, I would like to mention that in order to showing that you have original design in process engineering, you need to have sketch design. I draw the sketch design on the paper by using the pen and the pencil before I using the SolidWorks software. And after I sketch the drawing, and then I try to measure the dimension, and then I try to draw in the SolidWorks software. So yeah, this is I use SolidWorks. This is the figure of the and after the design is completed, I use the before this one I will need to show you the video of the air circulation. So this is I use also the fluid simulation to illustrate the simulation of the air during the inhale, and also I have to this one for the expiration or exhale. So exhale and inhale has two different line. Okay, one I designed the adapter, and then I use the 3D printer. We call additive manufacturing because the mechanism is they manufacture, make the product layer by layer. Use the 3D printer in my lab, and this is the one of the picture of the 3D printer. And Alhamdulillah that our product already used widely in Indonesia. I will just show you some of the user in front lines. The left side is from the Rumah Sakit Umum Daerah Pati, Central Java. She is obstetric. This is obstetrics and gynecology, SPOG, and the middle one is the nurse from the Rumah Sakit Cipto Mangunkusumo Jakarta. Also use the defender full mask. And the right here is from the Rumah Sakit Umum Depok, Rumah Sakit Umum Daerah Depok, and she is the clinical pathology. Okay, this is some of the picture of the user in front line that use DFM. And also in from military also has used DFM. This is Navy from Naval Hospital Surabaya. He's the orthotics and prosthetic doctor from Army. Okay, this is the front line. And also I would like to, if you would like to know further about DFM, you can please visit our YouTube channel here, because I explain more detail, because I think today has a limited time. I explain more detail about what is DFM full mask, the DFM project here. Then you can maybe just like, because we need support from you to be proposed to the Ministry of Health to be like doing the clinical test, because we need to have like a clinical test from MOH of Indonesia. Okay, please try to visit and then like the video. And actually we developed this product is just like very short and don't have expectation to be viral, but Alhamdulillah also the viral that, and then Professor Novisan also know this news, and then he contacted me to join this webinar presentation. So we have also already published in the media, newspaper, and then the 20static.com. You can find from here, and already has 48,000 views. Okay, the conclusion from my and maybe also will be complemented by Dr. Satrio. I would like to note that Defender Full Mask is an alternative PPE. So you need to note that Defender Full Mask is an alternative PPE. And number two is the DFM has not as yet been evaluated by Ministry of Health Indonesia. Still proposing, still under progress, but already has been widely used, as you saw in the picture. And before you use of the DFM, please seek the advice of qualified doctors and healthcare, because there is some like explanation how to use the DFM, how to find the filter, and etc. I think enough for my presentation. Thank you. I'll go back to Dr. Professor Nurul Huda.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Wahyu and Dr. Satrio, for your very good Google innovation on the Defender Full Mask. I think this product is dedicated for the medical doctor. Yeah, medical doctor is a current hero is for us. Yeah, for the frontliner who be ready to help the people from this pandemic COVID-19.
Correct.
Okay, we have a number of questions here because your presentation is very good, and then a lot of people interesting about your product. So let me read one of the question addressed by Mr. Ikrar Tarunasa. As we know that COVID-19 is not an airborne infection, you said that COVID-19 can survive in aerosol about 3 hours. Is that mean the virus can be spreaded and infected by mist?
Okay.
Okay, Dr. Satrio, we can answer this question.
Okay. Yes, I think COVID-19 can survive in aerosol because all the medical procedures and surgical procedures such as suction spray, etc. So beside virus transmission by droplet, this COVID-19 can be spread by aerosol procedures. That's why medical professionals, doctors, paramedic, nurse are very high risk to be infected. But if you mean by mist, I think it's maybe more appropriate like spray and aerosol procedures. Okay, just thank you.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Dr. Satrio. So we also have another question from the participant. This one is for addressed to Dr. Wahyu.
Okay.
Who holds the patent for this product, and also how much the commercial price of this mask? Commercial price, not the
Okay.
basic price, but the commercial average commercial price for this your defender full mask. Okay,
Okay.
please, Dr. Wahyu.
Okay, as I mentioned before in the, or maybe I forgot to mention that Defender Formas consists of three members, me, Dr. Satrio, and one of my colleagues in Indonesia. He has a company Indonesia. So for the patent, because of I'm working overseas, the patent is me and Dr. Satrio as the inventor, but the holding patent is the industrial side, which is Mr. Putra. So actually we have three members here. Me and Dr. Satrio is the inventor, but the application or the holding patent will be goes to the Mr. Putra, which is he has a company there. He is responsible to produce the DFM later on, and yeah, everything, the process, everything lah. I mean, this the first question I already answered. And number two, the commercial price for this one that we already decide that is around 500,000 rupiah to 600,000 rupiah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Dr. Wahyu.
Yeah.
And then also a question for Dr. Satrio. Yeah, a question for Dr. Satrio. What is the best method to decrease the COVID-19 case?
What is the
best method to decrease the COVID-19 this infection case?
Okay. Thank you for the question. The best method for I think is social distancing. It's the most important. Social distancing is physical distancing. Physical distancing is most important. And use mask. Not not just usual mask is okay. No problem with the usual mask. Not just a surgery mask or just use mask. Don't forget to use mask and physical distancing. I think it's the best for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Setio. So meaning we can use any commercial mask, not really need to use a surgical mask for our daily life. I'm right or not? Okay. So the question for Dr. Satrio. Okay, based on your experience, is Indonesia already in the right track in combating COVID-19 case?
Pardon?
Okay, based on your experience, is Indonesia already in the right track in combating COVID-19 case?
We must ready. I think we must ready.
No. Whether is already in the right track?
In right track.
Okay.
Oh, it's a difficult question, I think. Because
this is tricky question. Tricky question.
Yeah, tricky question, I think. But I think now we are on the track. If physical distancing and using mask for everybody is on the right track? Are people doing that, and can it will decrease the COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia? Thank you.
Okay, I think we have no more question for you, Dr. Wayu and Dr. Satya,
Okay.
and then we can close your session. Okay, thank you so much
Thank you.
for
Yeah.
your presentation. And then to all of the participants, just a reminder. So please stay with us until the end of the program, because one after the concluding remark from Prof. Helmi, we will have a kind of the photo session. Yeah, we will have kind of photo session. So please don't leave our meeting. Yeah, before we officially close this program, please stay with us until the end of the program. We need to capture a picture of all of the participants. So again, to remind all the participants, please stay with us until the end of the program. Don't leave the meeting, because one after the Prof. Helmi come with his concluding remark, we need to take a group photo, group photo together. Okay, thank you again to Dr. Wayu and Dr. Satrio. Okay, and then we will go to next presentation by the team lead
Thank
by
you.
Dr. Hanilin Hidalgo from Philippines. Yeah. So the title of the presentation is a consumption of the lifestyle of face mask generation in Asia after COVID-19 pandemic. So Dr. Hanilin Hidalgo with her team, which consists Dr. Nam Huang Nguyen from Vietnam, Miss Agusti Ayu Francisca Dewi from Indonesia, Miss Puang Taibis Nguyen also from Vietnam, and Mr. Agustinho da Costa Jimenez, from Timor-Leste. So let me read the short bio of the Dr. Hanilin. Dr. Nelin is the Associate Professor at the Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, Philippines. She holds a degree in agribusiness management and a doctorate degree in business administration. She is a social scientist, and her interests are in sustainable livelihood of the marginal sector, business resilience, market behavior, farm tourism, and value chain. She has worked with projects funded by international agencies such as SIDA, TRIAS, UNDP, and recently the International Foundation for Science, IFS. She is currently a program development coordinator of the SAFE Network and an organizer of the Young Scholar Initiative. She is also project evaluator of the Philippine Smart Enterprise Technology Upgrading Program of the Department of Science and Technology of her locality. She has published several number of the publications in her field and has received national award in research and business competition. So her team, which consists Dr. Nam Huang Nguyen. Dr. Nam Huang Nguyen is a lecturer and policy advisor at the National Economic University, Vietnam. He obtained his doctorate in economics from La Trobe University, Australia in 2014. His major research interests are environment evaluation, judgment and decision making, ecosystem valuation, cost benefit analysis, and circular economy. He also served as a national consultant for the United Nations Development Program in Vietnam. The next member of Dr. Hanilin team is Miss Gusti Ayu Francisca Dewi. Miss Gusti Ayu, Miss Siska, is a responsible sourcing specialist at an international NGO working to protect forests globally through consumer behavior. Ms. Siska studied agriculture for a degree and master and biology in master and environmental and community land planning as a master. So meaning Ms. Siska holding two master in Udayana University, Indonesia, Ibaraki University, Japan, and State University of New York with collaboration with Syracuse University in US. Ms. Siska has experience in conducting researches and professional work related to cocoa trees and cocoa farmers, vegetable farmers, and Native American tribes. She contributed to the United Nations Global Sustainable Development Report and has been active in climate change mitigation and climate smart adaptation work in the past 10 years. She was invited as a speaker at the United Nations First Forum on the Science and Technology in UN headquarters in New York. Wow, very good. She is interested in climate change adaptation and advocacy, sustainability in supply chain, sustainable agriculture and living, and also indigenous people rights. The next member of Dr. Hani Lin is Ms. Puang Thi Bich Nguyen. She is a lecturer at the Academy of Policy and Development, Vietnam. She studied economy, geography, and public policy and economic development in Hanoi National University of the Education in Vietnam and Yuan University in Korea. She is currently Ms. Puang Thi Bich Nguyen is a PhD student in economics and economic at the National Economic University of Vietnam. She has over 5-year research experience in a master planning, agro-climate change, agro-based cluster, sustainable use of natural resources, poverty reduction, and livelihood vulnerable to the climate change. She is also serving as manager for research and project development at a national NGO working to achieve sustainable development goal for capacity building and research cooperation program. She is interested in climate change adaptation, innovation policy, agriculture cluster development, and circular economy. The last member of the Dr. Hani Lin is Mr. Agustinho da Costa Ximenez. Currently, Mr. Agustinho is a lecturer and research advisor at the University of Oriental Timor-Leste, UNITAL, and as an agriculture program manager at the Catholic Relief Services CRS. He has master degree in agronomy at the University of Philippines, Los Baños, UPLB. He has worked for FAO to support Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Timor-Leste on food security for 4 years. Mr. Agustinho has research interested on food production, climate change adaptation, and food security. He has involved in joint research and climate change adaptation for upland community in Vietnam, Philippines, and Timor-Leste. So Dr. Hani Lin team consists of very good and young researchers. So without delay, I will pass the space to Dr. Nelly to present together for around 25 minutes on the your research finding. Okay, please, Dr. Hani Lin.
Hello, good morning, good noon, good morning. My name is Hani Lin Hidalgo from CDSUA, Philippines, and I, together with my team from Vietnam, Indonesia, Timor-Leste, will be sharing the initial result of our region-wide survey on post-COVID consumption lifestyle of the young consumers in Asia. So, can I share my screen now? Okay, so we decided to make a research because at the onset of this pandemic, certain consumer behaviors were already changing, and these behaviors led people to cause panic responses and cause essential changes in people's consumption lifestyles. And these are what we call, widely called now as the new normal. And allow me to thank Dr. Novizar Nazir and the SAFE Network for providing a venue to share the results of our research, and Hai Dai, the founder of Wow Bali, for promoting the network's ideas, especially to Semeo and to the virtual community. Our team will talk about how COVID has changed the consumption lifestyle of our young consumers, particularly the generation Y and Z, whether they will reduce or increase buying on certain items, their food choices, their travel plans, what they have become after COVID, and where will their money flow after lockdowns. So just a brief background of the research. We particularly chose the generation Y and Z because they comprise a big portion of the consumer market. And we use the online survey tool using our networks. And we have a total of 523 respondents. And the bulk of these respondents were mainly from Philippines, Timor-Leste, Indonesia, Vietnam, and others. We have also respondents coming from Asian and non-Asian countries as far as Australia, US, and Canada. And they live mostly in the urban area, around 75%. because they had a difficulty in accessing those in the remote areas due to lack of internet access. And more than half were employed, and more than 80% consider themselves financially secure. So this is just the introductory part of our paper. But to give you a complete picture of the research, I now give the space first to my team. Dr. Nam first. Dr. Nam Hoang Nguyen of National Economics University will talk about the consumption pattern. Dr. Nam.
Thank you, Dr. Hani. And very good to meet you all here. Just want to share my screen. Right, so my part will be on the priority goods and consumption after the COVID-19 pandemic. I have to say that we do this research because we want to support the economic recovery after the COVID-19, point out which sectors and which economic activities could be promoted and should be promoted. Firstly, before the pandemic, our research results show that the generation Z and Y, which are people who are less than 40 years old, are very good condition. About more than 90% are in financially secure and somewhat financially secure. However, during the pandemic, the results show that many of them are moderately affected by the COVID-19, probably due to also the movement restriction orders in almost all countries in Southeast Asia, and so their income are very much affected. But that's another thing I want to mention here is during the pandemic, people are having a different priority of products for buying. Dr. Novisa in his presentation mentioned about food safety, and our research result also found that food is at the top of the list. And secondly, hygiene production, face mask, and interestingly, toilet paper is not our biggest concern. So it's different to some other countries, such as in Australia. After the pandemic, lifestyles change. That's about 92% of respondents feel like they will have change in their lifestyles at different levels. About 6% with very much major lifestyle change, and 32 with a major lifestyle change. In lifestyle change, we focus on some consumption style change, and actually only 30% of the correspondents feel like they will have the same consumption style as before, so they will remain usual spending behavior. But the others, the rest, are feeling like they're going to change a lot. And we go into detail, we find that people also change in where to buy. And it appears that there's a great chance for local producers, because people would be more interested in buying local made products rather than imported product after the pandemic. So very great chance for a local producer to produce more local product to support the consumer. Now, however, quantity and I mean the standard should be quality or the standard should be improved, because about more than half of the correspondent feel like the choice is still very heavily depends on the personal set of standards. And export might reduce, as you can see on the graph. However, the agricultural products might not among the reduction. We have some details results on this. However, within this presentation, I just want to make some notes. About what to buy, we have a list of products here, and we found that from the graph on the right hand side, you can see that no change is the light blue. Dark blue is increased buying, and green is reduced buying. And among them, food, health insurance, hygiene products, supplement or vitamin, education, and especially internet are the products that people would increase buying. And the others products, there's still some increase, but not significant. So sectors, economic sectors that produce these products would have the advantage to develop the product and to quickly recover after the pandemic. And how to buy? After the pandemic, we found that people tend to choose virtual shopping more than before. Because before the pandemic, the online retail in Southeast Asia accounts for only around 6% of all retail sales. But after the pandemic, we found that all the products here, people would prefer to buy at least the least one is still more than 10% virtual shopping, and toys are among the most preferred product to be bought online. Right, so that's my part. I just want to turn to Dr. Siska from Indonesia, talking about travel, giving you more information about traveling, change behavior after the pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nam. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu. Thank you for this opportunity by Safe Network family. And on behalf of our team, I'd like to share with you all about, I think, I'm sorry. I hope you can see my screen. So we'd like to let you know our preliminary finding on the travel plan after the pandemic. As we have already introductory information by Dr. Hani, so we were asking about those 500 plus participants, when is the time frame that they will travel after this pandemic, especially after the government tell that it's safe to travel somewhere. So first of all, when they were asked about to travel inside the country or travel domestically, it's around more than 25% of people say that they would like to travel as soon as possible, or even until like 3 months after the announcement that it is safe to travel. And most participants select that after 4 to 6 months, which is 35% of our respondents, and then followed by the respondents who answer, maybe we would like to travel 7 to 12 months, and then a year or 2 years even. So it's not so much, but mostly they would probably choose to travel after the 4 or 6 months after everything is comfortable and safe to go somewhere domestically. So apart from this, we also ask, what if you're planned to go to the international destinations? So our respondents revealed they think maybe it's not safe enough to travel as soon as possible, because it's only around 10% answered that they're ready to go between 1 to 3 months after the pandemic or after. the announcement of the safetiness. And then it follows gradually by 4 to 6 months, and then 7 to 12 months, highly decreasing to 20% of people choose. And then most of people think it's safe to travel after 2 years of this pandemic. So this results could be related to several variables, especially for the safetiness of people. And as we know, there are so many restrictions of travel so far has been going on in many countries. So what can we see from those two data? So in the dark blue stripe, we can see the domestic travel plan, and the light blue stripe for the international travel plan. So it's most likely that people will travel domestically right away after the pandemic's over, and less likely that they will travel abroad after that. Because as we've seen this, for international destination, people would rather prefer to travel after 2 years even, or as soon as the pandemic is over. So this data reveal what sectors are impacted and how the behavior and the consumptions, as my colleague Dr. Nam mentioned before, about the priority to consume locally or to get produce from nearby places. So first of all, tourism industry, as I live in Bali or other famous destination, it's impacted very heavily because everything shut down. It's not only about the travel, it's also about the accommodation and food. So this will be changing very, very dramatically during the pandemic. And after the pandemic, some scientists studied and predict that it might not increase right away or change very in a fluctuative trend as before, because there are several reasons. This could be like the restriction and also the considerations about consumption sources and local resources. And then the second one is about the business practices, and because now everyone's working online, so it's coming like a new normal for everyone to work from home. It's necessarily could be changes in some practical modification, including technology and everything. And in the end, it will impact the environment. Especially, I'd like to highlight the greenhouse gas emissions in this part, because as you know, during this pandemic, at least 1 billion tons of carbon dioxide has been reduced. So what other people say, to briefly let you know about the preliminary discussion about this, is like other businesses also have been prepared for their tourism industry, including the biggest travel online company that's already expect that this is probably the thing that will recover sooner is the local destinations and local travels things related to this. So there won't be a lot to adjust about this. There are even also already virtual tour and virtual travel regarding this. So the trend will be, the culture of travel could be different after this. And then the technology also for many business practices. For example, people maybe go for audit for a certification. They may no longer need physical contact, but maybe they develop some robots to verify, to be more efficient and cost efficient as well. And also, of course, hopefully we can count how much emissions that will be predicted if travels will be changing the trend, and also the traffic in the air and the local transportation regarding that. So thank you very much for this, and I'd like to give opportunity for my next team member, Mr. Agustino Jimenez. Please, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity. And hello?
Yes, hello.
Yes.
Okay. thank you for the opportunity to for the team and also for the network for starting this presenting this result. Firstly, I want to say sorry and please forgive me because my network is unstable. Because right now I'm in the field, so I'm just sitting in the car to present the result because right now we are also conducting the survey for impact of food security in this country. So it's national wide, and I'm lead one of the group to do some research. So that's why I'm in the field. So please forgive me if there is the network is sometimes missing. Yeah, in my part, I will present about the food choice behavior after COVID pandemic, 19 pandemic. So did you see my slide or?
Not yet, Mr. Agustino. We cannot see your slide.
Okay, okay. Let me.
Can you share your slide?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay, it's coming. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah. So for my part, I will discuss more about food choice behavior. As we know that I think right now we can see that it's most of there is we can say that it's versus coffee and then also food. So like in the some parts, especially like in Timor-Leste, we also have a number of cases. But then we see that the people are more worried about food rather than COVID-19. So there is something that we that's why I will discuss in this part is more on like how the people I will discuss more about spending on food and then food purchase type, food priority, and also food availability and food access. So for the spending more on food, I think some of my colleagues already present that right now the people are more wonder on food. So they spend more on food rather than the others because based on their experience, we found out that there's 81 percentage of the respondents say that like they're worried because they didn't have preparation or they didn't purchase more food, so that's they are wondering about food. And also they're be careful on the spending for plan for spending because we also say that it's the people are more on the like how they can spend more on food because that's the big challenge is more about food because especially like in Timor-Leste, our special for rice is we depend on the like Vietnam and Thailand is around 70%, so we are more on imported rice. So that's why all the respondents be careful on how to spend their like for food. And also most are like reducing to spend to eat outside, so they prefer to cook at home. They produce their own food rather than spend in outside and spend with other item. And there is also so it's more on high percentage that they show that like around 62% and is they respond that they will reduce to eating outside, and also they like 20%, 7% they said they will not change. So this also as a part of how they will more spending on food, because right now I'm in the field and just for last 5 days we do some of data and it show that the people are more wonder about food rather than COVID-19. And so I think it's also discuss about food purchase type. So it's more on actual and then virtual. So in this case, more on the respondent are prefer to buy the food purchase like actual. So it's rather than the one that is virtual. So it's more on like raw vegetables, fruit, and cook. So it's more than high percentage. And groceries, I think one of my colleague already mentioned that they prefer to buy food rather than other things. And what's the preference or for after pandemic? I think we see that because of most are like dependent for food production, so there is opportunity for during the restriction. They also now that they have to purchase or they have to produce their own food. That's why they prefer to consume their own product. So that's the opportunity. They can produce more food at home, and they so that they will not depend on other product from other outside. And even for beverage priority, it's also they prefer the one it's more on like fresh rather than the one that is food that have processing. And other parts more on like food availability and food access. So they right now is because of restriction to on export import. So the people are prefer to produce their own food rather than purchase. So that's opportunity, but then it's also there is some challenge that how they can access to input, which is agriculture input that is also there depend on the other supplier. So that's the thing that will be have a challenge. And eating available food for their own farm and limited access. So it's as I mentioned that there is some of the results from our survey. Even right now, we find out that the people are really depend on the market, because some of that they can produce their own food and they can access to food, but some are really depend on the market that there is a restriction, lockdown, so they cannot go out to the market. Especially some are really close the market, then it's really difficult to access the food. So that's the part that they really how to produce their own food and in the future. So I think that's my presentation. And then for the next, I will give to Ms. Pong Nguyen to present her finding. Thanks.
Yeah. Good morning. Let me share my screen. Oh, girls, you need stop the sharing. Oh, girls. Yeah. Good morning. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Okay. Please proceed.
Yeah.
Please proceed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Shared Network, to give us the chance to sharing our results. I would like to continue our team presentation about the character that shape the young generation after COVID-19 pandemic. I conclude the three most leading characters of young generation. The first is being more careful. The second is being more positive, and the third is being prudent consumer. I will show the result. For the you can see in the chart in the NAM presentation, but in here you can see that almost you can see in the green and the blue part. This is almost 73% of respondents. So that when they describe themselves as very carefully consumer reduced consumption and then carefully spend their money on buying goods and service. And thus only 13% of respondents that maintain usual spending behavior as before the COVID-19 pandemic. Here's in this slide you can see only over 1% of respondents answer that they will not prepare anything to cope with other similar crises in the future, and over 80% of them respond that they will save money to deal with the similar risks. Here you can see that save money, invest to the healthcare insurance, and invest to the farm is the most concern of some generation when they intend to invest after COVID pandemic. Next, for the being more positive, you can see the response from young generation about the positive and negative attitude that they developed during the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's easy to realize that the positive attitudes are dominant among young generation, and finally, I think almost young generation being more prudent in consumption behavior. You can see here they increase to buy on necessary goods and service, as the food and some vitamins and something they need to education and work, and almost they reduce their demand on the other upmarket goods and service, even including the clothes and travel. So finally, I conclude two opportunities for economic recoveries in agriculture and in the health conscious goods and service, and two challenges in other upmarket goods and service, and is the risk from the increasing of saving money among the young generation. That's all in my initial results from our survey. For the next, I would like to introduce Dr. Hani for the final part of our team. Yes, Dr. Hani.
Yes, please, Dr. Hani.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Nam
Yeah.
and Agus. Thank you for that presentation. So I now continue with the last topic. My last topic is about the flow of money after COVID-19 pandemic. So the adverse effect of a pandemic to economy has triggered changes in consumer behavior. They become more prudent. In fact, 62% said that they're prudent, and even if most of these consumers are financially secure, they tend to carefully plan their spending habits and postpone major purchases. Some scholars call this discretionary thrift, where consumers economize, recycle, and express dissatisfaction with excess consumption. So while COVID-19 vaccine and medications are still Under study, such forms of behavior may still continue until such time when COVID-19 can be cured and controlled. During lockdowns, these young consumers were able to assess their financial state and plan to spend their money wisely to protect themselves from another wave of pandemic. When asked where will they invest their money after pandemic, we ranked the top 3 choices of the consumers. So 64% will save more after the pandemic. But if they were not really affected, as presented by Dr. Nam in his previous slides, why this choice? Street selling and trading are among vulnerable livelihoods during this pandemic, and around 60% of the working age population are working in the informal economy in Asia. During lockdown, many people depended on private aids and government assistance to sustain their daily meals. This revealed the lack of financial literacy among the majority of the working population due to the absence of emergency funds and savings during livelihood disruptions. And this brought fear and worry to the young consumers that major change in lifestyle is something that they are not prepared for. The second priority is buying health insurance. And obviously, getting infected by the deadly coronavirus may not only cause physical and emotional loss to the patient, but as well as huge financial loss. In a highly developed country like the United States, the cost of hospitalization due to COVID is estimated at $14,000 per patient. And this cost even becomes higher for a developing country such as the Philippines. Without medical insurance, the hospitalization cost would reach up to $20,000 per patient. And with no sufficient funds to support this medication, this will cause a really detrimental impact to the financial condition of the consumers, particularly to the poor and the middle class. The uncertainty and cost raised by COVID-19 have prompted consumers to consider getting their health insurance to minimize the difficulty they might encounter in the future. And lastly, urban agriculture. Growing our own food will be the new norm. The empty shelves at the supermarkets caused by panic buying drove them to set up their homegrown food garden in both urban and rural areas. And in the Philippines, the government is intensifying its efforts to promote urban agriculture through virtual training of vegetable gardening at home and extensive distribution of planting materials. Love of farming has increased tremendously. In fact, posts on home gardening have flooded the social media recently. And in a random check of 30 Facebook posts at the height of this pandemic, 1 out of 3 Facebook users posted something about vegetable planting. Gardening has even become a new habit to these consumers and plan to maintain even after the lockdown. And imagine by 2050, 2/3 of the global population will live in urban areas, and about 90% of the shift to cities will happen in Asia and Africa. As such, urban agriculture and vertical farming will need to balance the food security gaps, especially in the metropolis area where fertile fields are no longer available. And to give you a glimpse of the entire investment venture ranking, this figure shows that essential COVID-related products matters to the young consumers. We also asked them the things they will do after the government has lifted lockdowns and quarantine measures in their place. And these top 3 priorities appear. Since travel restrictions were imposed, many were not able to visit their family, friends, and relatives. And COVID-19 deepened their concern for people in their lives. Next to people is their work. They need to go back to their functions, whether as a student, as an employee, as a businessman. And the third is travel or vacation. Well, after being home quarantined for a few months, they need to breathe some fresh air in a quite different and relaxing place. And to sum this up, these priorities are arranged as family being the first, then career as second, and self as third. So the question is, was this prioritization the same before COVID-19 happened? When asked how they foresee their economy in terms of recovery, well, 30% are confident that our economy will recover within a year. And around 27% believe that it will take more than a year before we get back to normal. But I see some positive outlook. 4 out of 10 are confident that economy will recover in less than 6 months. And these are the responses of the young generation. The recovery, however, may be attributed to how fast can we develop a vaccine or cure for COVID-19 so people can go back to normal lifestyle, and probably how fast can businesses change their models to adapt to the new norm. So to summarize the new norm after COVID, we would like to end this with the word mask, referring to the face mask generation. M as modern, with a great deal of uncertainties, the world is not getting back to normal anytime soon. Consumers prefer to work at home and study online. And with social distancing taking place, a massive social and business transformation will likely to happen. COVID has become a compelling reason to modernize, switching from cash to cashless, physical to virtual economy, as Dr. Na mentioned in the virtual shopping, will necessitate various sectors and industries to shift to digital tools and reformat their business models. A, as agriculture, COVID is a great equalizer. We have been dreaming for more people to plant for their own food. Even with few or no land to till, growing food at home has become a possibility because of COVID-19. And S, savings, for fear of not being able to buy the necessity, savings will be a coping mechanism. It's number one in our data, coping mechanism. People have learned from the mistakes of others. And last, being keen. Well, for fear of contagion, consumers have developed a sense of extreme sensitivity and responsiveness to ensure their health and safety. We even have become a bit paranoid that we tend to be too careful and too protective. So that ends. Thank you, keep safe. And I would like to invite you to the Safe Network Workspace.slack.com. So this is the new channel for those who want to connect with us virtually. We can exchange, collaborate in this space more freely and more efficiently. So thank you very much, and thank you again, Safe Network, for hosting this event.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hani and your team for very good presentation. Okay, we have a number of questions here. Okay, I think I will read the question number one. Question number one. I think this one is considered a general question for your team. For agriculture system, how many percent of technology and method will be changed in the new area? And how about our local farmer can adopt these changes? Can you copy the question, Dr. Hani?
How many percent the technology and will change?
Yeah, the new era, because you're talking the new era of the agriculture.
Well, our study is focused on the consumer behavior. This change in technology will depend on the way how the businesses, the industries will adapt to this behavior. So I think it doesn't our research cannot answer the question of Mr. Rahmad Saputra on the system, on the agricultural system, because it has a lot of factors to consider in changing a system. And first, is it adaptable to the area? And second, do they have funds to change it? But eventually, if we really have to if we need to survive in the business that we are into, we have to change our model. We have to change the system.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hani. The next question for you, for the Hani's group, is it possible to make a pilot plan project based on the finding of the research?
Come again? Is it?
Okay, is it possible to make a pilot project based on the finding of your research?
To pilot project.
Based on your finding of the research, because you already conduct research on the what do you call it for the pandemic COVID. to any possibility to make the new pilot project?
What project are you referring to be piloted?
I think in general, because your research related with many aspects. Maybe some of the aspect can become a pilot project to another area.
Oh yes, probably.
Yeah, I think it's definite. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. This is just some preliminary result, and we actually want to extend it further with a lot of following research. So definitely, thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Dr. Yang, because maybe some participant put interesting about your project, and maybe they want to apply some of your method in the and on area. Okay, next satu question for Dr. Nam. Question for Dr. Nam. Let me see. Local producer have a good chance. The place or the people will buy. What should we do to anticipate the increased demand of the local producer?
Right. Thanks for the question. Firstly, as I already mentioned in the presentation, it is very good that people are tempting to buy local products, but about more than 50%, so it's around 52% of people still, their choice still heavily depends on their personal set of standards. So the first thing to do is to improve the standard of the local products. So you want to make a better product and improve the brand. That should be the first one. And secondly, within what we concern now about the COVID-19, we would want more environmentally friendly products. Yeah, that would be the two things I want to mention.
So you consider about to improve the quality of the local product first in order to fulfill the request for the local customer. Yeah, Dr. Nam,
yes, and also
from your answer. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And please note down that we should improve it in a way that is more environmentally friendly, because there are many ways to improve the standard of our products. But we can look at more environmentally friendly direction. That would be better. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello? Yeah, okay. Next question is also addressed to Mr. Agustino. So, Mr. Agustino, is still there? Hello, Mr. Agustino?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
There? Okay, sorry.
Yes.
How can you determine and prediction the availability of the food during COVID-19 in your area? Yeah. How is the percentages of changes of lifestyle from the buy junk food to the home food?
Well, I think this, as I mentioned, that because this is also opportunity that there is more dependency to the import product, but now there is a restriction that they have to stay at home, and so they really depend on their product. So yeah, they have to really work and to produce their own food. So that's the strategy that they have to coping for this COVID, because they already feel that for the dependency on the imported product is not sustainable. and for this kind of situation. So I think that's the strategy, that coping strategy, that they have to produce their own product.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Agustino. Next question also addressed to you. How to deal with the threat of food security as a direct impact of the implementation of social distancing policies?
I think right now, because like our government, like especially for food security, we also, as I mentioned, that is around 70% we are depend on the importation rice. So that's the government keep trying to do some a connection with the other country like Vietnam for supplier for Vietnam, and because of there is some regulation in the country that they have to reduce the exported, then the government also try to find another country that they can export to our country. So because as I mentioned, there is really depend on the government how they can make coordination and with other countries so that we can improve more. Because even right now for this year, especially for Timor-Leste, we have various challenge, because the first thing is we have limited or poor rainfall, and also we have army worm that is also attack the maize production, and also we have African for the pig that is, it's really have high impact for local income. So it's, right now we not only have COVID, but it's also a previous impact that is right now is still not recovered. So it's really depend on the government support.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Agustino, for the answer. I think the next question, I think you can, Dr. Nam can answer, is from the Patria. She asked about the, so I suppose that the conclusion of your research is a big number of potential demand for product which made domestically after COVID-19 pandemic. Agriculture sector got a blessing after the pandemic. How we can respond the demand to boost our economy, because in the same time we face some of limitation to produce agricultural product. Okay, please, Dr. Naim.
Wow, that's a very broad question, difficult to answer. Yeah, but from my understanding, I can give like a partly answer. Yeah, you're right. We may have higher demand for local products. The first thing is, as I already mentioned, we should improve the quality or the standard. But at the same time, yes, we need to meet the demand. So we want to increase the quantity as well. Luckily, almost all ASEAN countries, including Indonesia, Vietnam, Timor-Leste, the Philippines here are having the advantage of doing great agriculture. So, firstly, from the perspective of the government, we need a better policy to address and to take the advantage of the agriculture. And from the evidence that we already seen, agriculture could be one of the best chance for us to recover from I don't want to say this, but maybe we'll have the next pandemic. Agriculture would be our helper, and we will not have panic buying, and because we have a lot of agricultural products ready for us, so that's good. But so that's the first thing I want to say. The government should maybe keep that in mind and promote the development of agriculture. That's also the message I want to convey to some countries who's trying to do industrialization, but like for example Vietnam, we want to promote industrialization, but actually sometimes we forget that agriculture is our advantage, and it's very good to develop our agriculture. And the second thing I want to mention here is the virtual shopping. Some agricultural products can be sell and buy online if the standard of the product, I mean the quality standards of the product they are clear and transparent. So we can develop a very good virtual, not just one but many virtual market for agricultural products. That would be very helpful. That's also one of the results that we want to note down in our survey, in our research. Yeah, some comments.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mesti, maybe Dr. Agustino, you want to add any explanation for the question from Patria? Hello, Mr. Agustino.
Yes. Well, I think what's Nam had mentioned that well, I think right now it's really the depend on the government effort. That there is agriculture. It's as I also mentioned in my presentation that there is a versus between COVID-19 and then food. So in some places, the people mention that it's preferred to like die by COVID-19 rather than hungry. So that's the thing that I think there is opportunity for agriculture and to recover. What Nam mentioned that otherwise there is a lockdown and there is no any prevention for others to go farm, and then it will be affect that for the following pandemic, maybe it's agriculture, it's hunger. So I think agriculture is really a good strategy for recover.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Agustino. So next question is addressed to Ms. Siska. Yeah. So for Ms. Siska, I just read the question. What do you think? Is there any changes in travel habit or travel style of people after pandemic?
I'm sorry, sir. Could you repeat? Is there any change?
Yeah, any changes in travel habit or travel style of people after pandemic?
Oh yeah. So according our data, it probably will change because it reveals that people will travel locally. Their preference is changing, could be like from prioritizing to travel domestically compared to travel internationally or travel somewhere abroad. So there will be changes on the travel habit, not only about their preference, but also the sectors that impacted about regarding the travel preference, such as the tourism industry, and within that there is like the restaurants industry and also accommodations and other fragments that fall into that sector. Thank you.
Okay, so meaning the domestic traveling will play an important role in the tourism.
Yeah, it most likely the domestic travel will be the priority of many people, according to this finding. And also other studies also mentioned that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Siska. So next question is to Ms. Pong Tibin Nguyen. So according to your presentation, save money is a good for people. So based on your investigation, why most respondents like to save money? It is for anticipating the worst condition or what?
Can you repeat?
Okay, can you get my question? Okay, we can. Yeah. So, okay, based on your investigation, why most respondents like to save money? It is for anticipating the worst condition or any other reason?
Actually, when we make the questionnaire, we don't ask the why they save money. But as my personal idea, I guess for the young generation, they focus on saving money because they quite worry about the economic crisis and maybe they want to make us more. They would say want to more carefully with their future in the consumption and in their life. So almost they want to save money to because some experts, some economists experts worry about the crisis in both in demand and supply in the after pandemics. So that's why I think almost the normal thing, the people normal thing that saving money can help them to safer in the unpredictable situation of economic, I guess.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ms. Feng. This next question is, I think, this one to Dr. Hani as the leader of the team. So you said it's on time. Yeah, on time. So did you know COVID-19 case before this case being pandemic?
Come again, Dr. Nurul?
Okay. Your research is on time. Yeah, your research is on time. You conduct the research in a good time, the proper time. Yeah. So just question, did you know COVID-19 case before this case being pandemic?
Because during the pandemic, we had this chat with this group, and we decided to help the economy with our research skills. So we didn't know, we didn't plan this before the pandemic. It just came out because of the need, probably because of the need for information, especially to the business sector, that they would be able to reset their business processes, their systems, to be able to adapt to the changing consumer behavior, to the consumption lifestyle that we have presented. So from the data that we have presented, probably some businesses could remodel their plans in such a way that they would be able to adapt to this lifestyle of the face mask generation. And of course, we use the young generation because they are the most active in social media, and they are considered as the prime consumers in our economy.
Okay, thank you. I think this one is considered last question for your team, Dr. Hani. Just come from the menu. So, do you think from the Nomalina Akpi from University Syah Kuala and Banda Aceh, Indonesia? So, the question is addressed to Dr. Hani and the team. So, do you think the result of your studies can be extrapolated to a larger community? Yeah, what is the percentage of the similarity of the result do you think will be?
I think we we haven't done statistical analysis yet, but I think with the news that comes in the social media, I think there's a lot of truth in our data. It jives with what is really happening now. And when we talk with our mates, with our friends, they would say the same thing with the results that we have. So I guess it would also be the same with because the four countries, the Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Timor-Leste, have a lot of things in common. They are into agriculture, or all of them are into agriculture, and they're part of Asia. So and the climate are very much similar. So I think we would have this similar trend with other countries in Asia. Probably not in other countries like in US, because in our result, tissue paper is not a priority in Asia, but in US it's really a top priority of consumers when they go shopping. So I guess my
Okay, thank you.
Can I have one thing more?
Yes, please.
Yes, and it's just these are just preliminary results, and we are still welcoming for more respondents, so that our result will more representative to all other countries in Asia. That's our purpose, and definitely we will have to prove statistically how representative our results is comparing to the reality. But in fact, we from the beginning of this research, we really want to give some ideas to the producers, to the economic analysts, to the governments, to see which sectors, economic sectors, would be the leaders of the economic recovery, because we know that our economies are being devastated. And we really look forward to the recovery, and we are trying our best to foster the process. So we our research here want to give some hints for that. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Dr. Nem. I think I agree, because maybe your finding can be applied in what you call it for the agricultural-based country, but for the industrial-based country, maybe the similarity is maybe different. I think because no more question come in, and then maybe we can close your session, Dr. Hani and your team. Okay, thank you for all of the information you shared to the participant. Thank you for all of the Dr. Hani team. Okay, and then we can proceed to next session is a concluding remark from our mentor, Professor Dr. Hilmi. So let me read some introduction of Professor Dr. Helmi. Most of us are familiar with our mentor. Prof. Dr. Helmi is a social scientist by training. Yeah, he holds master degree in social development studies and PhD degree in agrarian development, focused on public policy and institution. Professor Dr. Helmi base is at Andalas University, Indonesia, where he is doing teaching and research on the topic integrated and sustainable agriculture, transformative agriculture, extension, local economic development, social entrepreneurship, and social business, sustainable design, sustainable development, and SDG, social development goals, and integrated natural resources management, planning, and policy. Professor Dr. Helmi has involved with national international initiative such as sustainable development among the International Water Management Institute, IWMI, World Foundation, Global Water Partnership, and also UNESCO. He has edited a book together with Professor Dr. Ganesh Sivalkoti from Thailand, and also with Dr. Ujwal Pradhan, entitled Natural Resources Management in Indonesia, Volume 1, First Volume, Sustainable Natural Resources Management in the Dynamic Asia, and published by Elsevier in 2016. Professor Helmi has joined the SAFE network since the beginning of its establishment in 2013. Okay, just short bio of the Prof. Dr. Helmi. Please, Prof. Dr. Helmi, for your concluding remark for all of the presentation.
Thank you very much, Professor Nurul Huda. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning, a good noon, afternoon already, yeah, to all of you. First is I would like to thank you, Professor Nofizar Nazir, for giving me opportunity to give the concluding remark in this webinar. Yeah, I would like to congratulate also Professor Nurul Huda for excellent facilitation of our webinar today, and great appreciation to all speakers. Yeah, Dr. Aida Azmi, Dr. Wahyu Kaisendra, Dr. Satrio Adi Wicaksono, and also Dr. Hani Tim, yeah, which I would like to mention all of your name to get to know also. Dr. Hanilin, Dr. Nam Huang, Dr. Puong Tibich Nguyen, Dr. Gusti Ayu, and then Dr. Agustinho da Costa Jimenez. So very good to know all of you and to hear your presentation. And it is a great appreciation to all of you which have shared your research results, which I would say all fantastic. Since the word fantastic I brought from UK, yeah, because I graduated from UK, and the UK British people like to say fantastic, and it's really fantastic today to join this presentation and discussion also. Let's give applause to all the distinguished speakers. Yeah. Now it's come to my turn to deliver notes on the discussion, on the presentation and discussion, and try to link all this presentation and discussion with the Safe Network mission and activities in the future. So first, with this webinar, Safe Networks has made effort, yeah, and developed ability to provide innovative solution to sustainability problem. At this moment is with regard to COVID-19. And I noticed that all speakers, even though they have a different research topic, but there are two dimensions inside. Yeah, one is innovation, the second is solution. And I think it can be used as a branding of Safe Network. Yeah, Safe Network, we means innovation and solution to sustainability problem. And you know, Dr. Aida Azmi, with her presentation, has introduced to us the concept of frugal innovation, which basically achieving more with less resources and give benefit to more people. I think it's very noble, yeah. And we can also took it as a principle in Safe Network. So achieving more with less resources and benefit more people. And one question I think is very important to notice, yeah, in this session in Dr. Aida Azmi. The question is that how to increase the sense of innovation of the young generation. If we put in other words, yeah, develop the innovation literacy of the young people. So it can be one of the activities of Safe Network in the future, because Safe Network concern about innovation, concern about solution to sustainability problem. So we can have a program later on how to strengthen or to increase literacy of young people to innovation. This is from Dr. Aida Azmi. And then we move to Dr. Wahyu and Dr. Satrio. I'm very impressed with this one. So innovation and solution for paramedics in this COVID-19 era, yeah, with innovation, full mask. So save the life of paramedics. And I would link that to the frugal innovation concept introduced by Dr. Aida. So the work done by Dr. Wahyu and Dr. Satrio can be classified as an application of frugal innovation in this case. Now it's come to Dr. Hanilin Hidalgo and team, yeah. A number of notes from the material presentation, material and discussion. Consumer behavior of young people have changed after COVID-19, and they put more priority on local produce of agriculture and food, and also intended to invest in farming, especially urban agriculture in this case. So safe network can link to this substance. Yeah, we have already one workshop on urban agriculture. Maybe we can, safe network can organize a more regular workshop on urban agriculture in this case to support these tendencies, yeah, this trend. And also great chance for local producer of agriculture and food as well. So we need to take a look, if possible in the future, safe network start to develop a pilot, yeah, in each country. It can be developed as agri-tourism destination later. It can be site for summer course later on when COVID pandemic is over and situation get normal and people willing to travel. So it's a good thing to think about to the future. Because as a finding from the research, tourism recovery will begin locally from 3 to 6 months. Is Dr. Gusti Ayu, yeah? It's very nice conclusion, I think. So it's a big opportunity also for agri-tourism to grow, yeah? So we need also to think about if the trend is that recovery of tourism from local, then maybe from now on, we need to also develop a kind of training for local agri-tourism destination development. So this is a kind of training which we can offer. We can have an online workshop also in the future. And other finding, digital or online marketing will blooming as people put priority on digital connectivity. So Dr. Hani with her team show us a kind of research conducted in this field, in this topic, which is a good start to do research with international coverage. So safe network in the future, because of wide coverage of member, wide countries coverage, I think it's easier to organize a kind of international research or survey. And then the result of the research can be published on scientific journal, but safe network as a network can publish a kind of brief policy paper, yeah, maybe 2 to 3 pages only, sent to different international organizations, to the ministries in countries of the members, and it's give basis to safe network to move to the future, yeah, because before safe network contact them, come to them, safe network already provides them with a kind of policy advice, yeah, from international research which has been organized. So this one, so we can promote as one presenter from Vietnam before, which give note that we need to promote to the government to give greater attention to sustainable agriculture, food, and energy. And this kind of brief policy paper from Safe Network is a good thing, you know, to promote the finding, the good principle to government. Then they can communicate later on with safe members in those countries and try to work something on the ground. Yeah, so we move more than doing research, but also doing something concrete in the field in this case, because the task of scientists not end yet until the knowledge, the science they develop have an impact on society. So that's the end of our task as scientists. Not only doing research, not only publish, but all the knowledge, all the innovation, how could we facilitate also that it can be applied, it can be implemented in the field. So at the end of this conclusion, one is that agriculture and food matters, yeah, will be have attention from all people. So already and will continue in the future. So SAFE networks need to strengthen activities on this matter. And I think Professor Nofizar Nazir, as president of SAFE, already outlined what will be the future program of SAFE responding to this crisis, yeah, COVID crisis. We do hope this will over soon, yeah. And secondly, practicing frugal innovation is important, I think, to provide innovative solution to sustainability problem, yeah, in the context of COVID or in other context of problem, sustainability problem. So I'm thinking that is it possible for SAFE to develop a kind of guidance, yeah, how to practice this frugal innovation. So different categories of problem related to sustainable agriculture, food and energy can be responded, yeah. We can produce innovation for solution in this case. So maybe we can consider the branding of SAFE, innovation and solution. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for Dr. Helmi for your very good concluding remarks. So I think so for the participant, please be patient for a while. Please on your video because we want to take a good photo. So for all of the participants, please be ready on your video because we want to take a good photo for all of the participants. Okay, Dr. Nam, please. Dr. Nam, please, on your video. Okay, Pak Rahmat, can you take picture? Or Iqbal? Okay. Pak Rahmat ready? Okay, Pak Rahmat ready?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Pak Rahmat. And then you can on to all of the participants.
All participants.
Yeah, participant. So please, all of the participants, please on your video. You want to take the group photo. For 178 participants. So currently we have 178 participants. So because the host Pak Rahmat will take a photo, group photo for all of the participants.
Yes.
So Pak Rahmat, can you capture the photo, group photo for all of the participants?
Yes, I am promote all participants to panelists. Maybe 1 minute.
Yeah, so we're waiting for you. So once you say complete, and then I will close our webinar.
Yes.
So please inform me when the group photo is done. Yes, still coming?
Yes, still coming.
Yeah, because the number of 178, 179 participants.
Iqbal, can you upgrade another participant?
So we have two display here. Okay, Dr. Satyo there. Okay, please on your video. Ibu Wiwi, please on your video.
Okay, Prof.
Okay. I can see your face now. Okay. Yeah, Ibu anak Diamond Sukri, Adi Ruswanto, Aswanuddin, please on your video. Anna Vera Hugo, I think Miss Hana Vera Hugo, please on your video. Mr. Ahmad Khairul,
Bawahan banyak.
Diamond Sukri, Adi Ruswanto, Ibu Eli Sahara, Mr. Fahrudin. Okay.
Ini daftar.
Okay, Ibu Irawati, you have problem with the video button? You can find your video button.
Baik. Masuk situ masuk tuh.
Okay, Pak Henry Maulana, you. Pak Henry.
Ya, oke.
Okay. Ko Ibu Indri, Pak Fauzan Azima is there. Please on your video, Pak Fauzan.
Bunga aku malam sembiring, Prof Nurul.
Prof Herman.
Okay.
Selamat siang, Prof Helmi. I join with you.
Yeah.
I join with you from this morning. I'm happy.
Thank you. Very good.
Hani Lin.
Ini lah masuk dari awal sih.
Oke, Pak Ahmad.
Tunggu, Pak. 105 lagi.
Yuk, Pak. Gimana, Pak Ahmad? Sehat?
Sehat, Pak.
Alhamdulillah.
Pak Iqbal.
So on you.
Ya.
Kak Rahmat.
Ya, halo.
Sehat. Hostnya hebat. Henry.
Ya, Wiwi.
Tinggal 90 lagi, Prof.
Because the internet is slow, what? It's slow internet.
Ya. Dia harus
atau
Halo, Prof Helmi.
Halo.
How are you?
Mana kabar Ibu? I'm fine. Ini dari Tanjung Pinang ya?
Kabar baik, Tanjung Pinang sehat.
Mantap.
Ya,
Umroh.
Tanjung Pinang.
Umrah ya?
Umrah. Bukan umroh, umrah.
Umrah ya.
Bu Khadijah di umrah.
Ini ada.
Atau yang ada aja diambil dulu Pak Rahmat.
Bagusnya begitu.
Yang ada aja dulu Pak Rahmat. Ya.
Maybe we could not wait for longer time, Pak Rahmat.
Ya.
Okay. Can you start take a photo, Pak Rahmat? Where is Paunopi? I don't see the Paunopi face. Paunopi, we don't see you. Okay, it's good. Don't go far. Just stay there.
Yeah, it's already 4 pages. So
Yang ada aja dulu Pak Nopi.
yeah, the second page is Pak Rahmat. The second page. Move to the second page, Pak Rahmat.
So we have 4 pages. 4 pages participant. So please take picture for each pages, Pak Rahmat. So when it's done, we need to close the webinar.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Udah, Pak Rahmat? Bapak Ibu bisa lihat pages-nya, halamannya bisa digeser-geser.
Ya, bisa.
Yang di tengah.
Prof. Evi, congratulations for today.
Thank you, Prof. Nah.
Okay, can we close for the visa?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So everybody move the page.
Okay.
Di copy semua.
Okay, can I close? Can we close the webinar for the visa? Okay.
Yes.
Behalf of the self network, behalf of the self network, and all of the presenter, I would like to say thank you to all of the participants who stay with us until the end of the webinar. We really appreciate your attendance on this webinar. So we hope the self network will come with next webinar.